Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome for those of you who are on our webinar this morning. My name is Franklin Smith, and I'm a partner at the Simon Phoenix Group. The Simon Phoenix Group is a software licensing, software marketing, and consulting organization located in the Greater Toronto Area. We specifically focus in on clients in the independent school and nonprofit markets. Our software product, Phoenix NP Complete, is a relational database application that has been designed specifically for those markets and came out of has an interesting history to it, which I'll share with you. We are not your typical software licensing company. My business partner, Ivan Simon, has 25 plus years of professional software development experience, so we certainly have the software development side of the business. But we also intrinsically understand the independent school market. I myself was working at the executive director level for over 8 years at faith-based independent schools in the Greater Toronto Area, and prior to that was a consultant heavily involved in the Toronto District School Board amalgamation process of the late 90s and early 2000s. So we certainly understand the independent school market, and of course understand software very well. And it was out of certainly out of my experience at the executive director level of some faith-based independent schools that Phoenix NP Complete was born and developed. So it is that time of year again where schools need to sit down and start seriously considering how tax receipting is going to be accomplished. And I know from my experience that that many independent schools use the Excel spreadsheet, mail merge to a Word template to get your receipts out. And there's certainly nothing wrong with doing it that way. That's the beauty of using Microsoft's Office suite, is that Excel, PowerPoint, Word all talk to each other. You can share data between them and use some fairly powerful techniques like mail merging. The problem with spreadsheets, of course, is that you can have contact data that certainly donor contact information that changes from time to time, and you need to be aware of any changes, and you need to make sure that you're using the most current version of a spreadsheet. So version control becomes very important, and I myself have done it many times where you have so many versions flying around, it sometimes can be a challenge to keep track of them, and potentially incorrect or old version of the data gets used. So it's out of that experience and out of a lot of other similar experiences that Phoenix NP Complete was developed. So the focus of today, I don't have a particular agenda written down, simply because it's more of a free-flowing demonstration type of webinar for those of you who were at last week's webinar on faith-based on the CRA tuition donation tax calculation. That was a more structured approach, simply because the calculation itself is very structured and proceeds step 1 through step 5. I'm going to spend some time today, and I'm going to try and go up until around 10:40, 10:45, and then leave time for questions and answers afterwards to give you an overview of how our software works and how it could be of benefit in assisting you in dealing with tax receipting. So we have a nice sized group today. We have current clients, we have potential clients. So it's nice to see all of you here. So welcome. For those of you who are just in the process of logging on, all attendee microphones are muted, so you'll be able to hear me, but any discussions or noise or anything like that at your end won't be heard by anyone else. So that gives you the freedom and flexibility if you want to carry on a discussion or answer the phone or do whatever. By all means, you're not going to be disturbing the webinar. Feel free to, in the webinar control panel, there is a question pane, like sort of similar to a chat window. Feel free to type questions in there. I will happily do my best to keep an eye on it as we go through, and if there's something that I don't deal with as we go through the first part of the webinar, the presentation portion, then I will certainly go back and address those questions at during the Q&A and discussion point. So let me move forward then, and the first thing is to introduce you to Phoenix NP Complete. Some of you who are our existing clients will recognize this. You should right now be able to see the main menu of our application. Phoenix NP Complete, for those of you who are on this webinar and who are not existing clients, it is a full relational database product. It does not require any kind of fancy hardware or fancy software. I'm currently running this off of a very simple notebook computer, but it is a multi-user application. Typically, we install it on customer servers, and that enables multiple users to access the application simultaneously. I can certainly show you how users have control for setting up user accounts to be able to restrict access. So for instance, you may not want your fundraising professional to have access to confidential staff data. That is totally configurable, and we certainly work with our clients to help them deal with that. So we're at the main menu. I've already logged into the system, and it recognizes me as the user, and it also recognizes the current school year as 2011. So let me then, for those of you who are clients, you're very familiar with this aspect of it as well. So let me then begin. Tax receipting. Clearly this won't come as a surprise to anyone, requires a few pieces of information. You need to know what it is that you're receipting. You need to know how much you're receipting, and you need to know who it is that you're receipting to. Because we dealt last week with the faith-based tax calculation, I'm not going to focus in on the faith-based tax calculation today. I'm not going to deal with it. Certainly not going to deal with the very crunchy details around how the calculation gets performed. I will touch base on it, though, just to show you how easy it is, if that's what you're interested in receipting, how easy it is to actually get those receipts into the system, and that goes for any other type of receipt that you may want to issue. So it probably won't come as a surprise, because you need to know who it is that you're receipting to. The contacts module is probably a good place to start. So I'm going to click on that button. We have tried to set up Phoenix NP Complete as an application that is very easy for people to use and very user-friendly. You are going to see me, I would say 99% of the time today, I'm going to be clicking buttons or selecting drop-down menu items. It is very rare that I'm going to have to go up here to this menu. And we did that for a reason. We did that on purpose, to try and make the application as easy to navigate around as possible. So there's a number of things here in the contact module. I'm going to start with the first option, contact information by contact name. And again, this probably won't come as a surprise that this data is test data of ours. So you're going to see names like, and I'm not even going to begin to pronounce that, but for obvious reasons, the data has been scrambled for demonstration purposes. I have kept cities, provinces, postal codes, just to keep things looking more or less reasonable. So here's the main contact page. Because this is a school-based product, we have an individual record, which, by the way, is automatically generated a contact number by the system. You don't need to enter that. We have a person 1, we have a person 2, and we have a company. So an individual record can be identified by up to 2 individuals and or with a company name. As I said, drop-down menus. We try and make good use of those wherever possible. Salutation, gender, if you want to, this is the year 2011, and more often than not, we are more and more seeing cases of 2 parents, same-sex couples, and so we need to make allowance for that, and so we certainly have in our product. There is no second person here. Address, again, city, drop-down menu, province, state, drop-down menu, multiple countries, again, drop-down menu, very easy to deal with. There may be instances where you will want to stay in touch with one or both individuals, but there may also be instances where one person in particular you may not want to remain in contact with. And I'm just going to quickly add a second name here, just to show you how easy it is. And no, I don't have a relative with the first name of Fred. But there's a person 1, person 2, and let's say for whatever reason, person 2 you're not going to remain in contact with. So this field, future contact, could be set to both. It could be set to person 1 only, or it could be set to person 2 only as needed. So we're going to set this to person 1 only, and there you go. So that's that piece of it. We also, of course, can capture telephone and email information. We can type, it's as easy as typing something in here. And there you go. There's a home number. There's a cell number. And quite straightforward. Email, same thing. There's email addresses there. A nice thing about Phoenix NP Complete is when you double-click on an email address. I don't have Microsoft Outlook or my email client running now because I don't want people being disturbed by emails that might come in during the course of the webinar. But when you double-click on an email address, then it will open up a new message and allow you to immediately send an email off to a person. So that's that piece of it. So There's lots of other things to show here, but I want to get to the capturing of donation information right now. So I'm going to do that just momentarily. You can also see that contacts can be categorized based on their relationship to the school, and we have any number of different relationships here, and we support multiple relationships as well. So again, system very easy to use. So this was all on the Contacts tab. There is a second tab on this screen called Donations. And when you click it, it will show you any donations that have been entered for or against that contact. And entering a donation, again, is very straightforward. You can see this one donation has already been entered. I'm going to enter a new donation record now, and you can imagine yourself doing this as donation amounts come in to your school or to your organization, as the case may be. So you simply click on a date. Let's pick today's date. You can see the system automatically generated a tax receipt number. I'm going to enter a gift amount. Let's say this was a gift of $1,000. There you go. The system automatically calculates the eligible amount. This next field, Advantage, represents any non-receiptable portion. And what that means is if, for instance, you're selling tickets to an event that's where each ticket holder will receive something from that event, be it a T-shirt or a bag filled with Trinkies or a dinner or what have you. CRA regulations require that you, using their formula, do not include those free items, quote unquote, as part of the receipt amount. So let's say this was a dinner, and let's say the dinner was valued at, I don't know, $50. So $50 then is the non-receivable portion, and there you go. You enter that, and the system will automatically calculate the eligible amount of this receipt as being $950. We support multiple currencies right now. We only have, our clients only have a need to support Canadian or US dollars, but we could support any other currency needed. Payment type. There's multiple payment types here. Let's say this was a check. Your organization may have multiple accounts that you want to deposit your funds in order to segregate funds for whatever reason. Perhaps you're doing a big gala and you have a separate gala bank account and you don't want to commingle those funds with your school's ordinary operating income for a multitude of different reasons. Then we support that, and let's say this is going into an RBC account, for instance, or you could just as well pick your offshore holding account. There may be a need to enter a date in which this donation or a batched group of donation items were entered into your general ledger, and so we support a pop-up calendar for general ledger date. So let's say, you know, this is going to be at the end of the month, so you could easily do that. Donation type. We support multiple donation types as well. This could be a straight donation. This could be a gift in kind. We're going to call this a straight donation, but you could easily easily be categorized that way. All right. So we also have another interesting piece of functionality with this, and this can come into play for, again, any number of different reasons. We have notes capability for individual donations. So this could be used for any number of different reasons. If this was a gift in kind, you may want to type in here that, you know, this was a donation of a 55-inch plasma TV, for instance. Or you may want to enter in here, this is the first of many large gifts from this contact. And you could type that note in there, and the system will automatically date and timestamp it. Another useful piece of functionality is if, as a result of this donation, you are going to be somehow communicating with this contact. Perhaps you've sent an email or have sent a letter. You can physically hyperlink the location of that communication to this note for future reference. So let's say I can find some sort of letter here, and whoops, sorry. And there you go. It hyperlinks it. If I were to click on it, then it should open up that document momentarily. And of course, you know what? Let me find another document. Let's try a PDF document. Well, for some reason, that's not, my system isn't responding very nicely to that today. Let's see if no, it's not here. All right, well, I apologize for that. It certainly was working, so we'll have to take another look and see what the problem might be with that. But that should be working. I was having some little bit of difficulty with my computer a little earlier today, so it was probably has to do with that. All right, so moving on from there then. Directed towards. There are any number of different ways in which individual donation items can be categorized to support multiple fundraising programs. So let's say this was a donation for the music program, for instance. So you could then link this donation to the music program, and then run a report that will then show you all your donations by fundraising category, and I'll happily show you that in a few minutes. This person number field, our application certainly supports allocating a donation to either person one or person two, or to both. As far as CRA is concerned, dealing with a married couple or a common law couple, if person one makes the donation, as far as CRA is concerned, either person can actually claim the receipt. But in some instances, we have customers whose contacts or whose donors actually want the receipt in the name of the person who made the donation. So that functionality has been put in place for that. So that's really as difficult as it gets for entering a donation item. So I'm going to exit out of here, and I'm going to go into the tax receipts module, and there should be a bunch of tax receipts here, and there are. And so these, every time you enter a new donation amount in Phoenix NP Complete, the donation is automatically flagged for printing. and it will then appear here, and we call this the donation receipts held queue. So every receipt, and again this is all test data, but every receipt that has been issued and has not yet been printed is sitting here. And you can see there's a total of 343 of them. I'm purposely showing you this many receipts because this should then indicate to you that this gives you ultimate flexibility in how you want to actually print your receipts out. You can print receipts out as they come in, one at a time, or you can make a decision and say, you know what, we are only going to print our receipts once a year. We're going to print them in January, and we're going to send them out so everyone has them well before the end of February deadline. If you want to do that, that's great. And the software is here to help make that very easy. You can see the very first donation item is the one that we just created, and you can see the 1,000 less the $50 for 950. So, and you can see also that the preview prints and the email buttons are all grayed out. They're disabled because nothing is selected. So selecting a receipt for printing is very straightforward. There's a radio button. You press it. That receipt is now selected. And now you can see that these buttons are now no longer disabled. They're enabled, and we can print the preview letter and receipt button, and the system will think for a moment, and there you go. There's a letter with some very nice verbiage. There's a receipt laid out in accordance with CRA guidelines, and there's a duplicate. The interesting thing from CRA and how to manage your receipts, and by the way, this is this is the only time you're ever going to see me go up to the bar here just to click the close preview button. CRA does not dictate to nonprofits how they need to retain their receipt history. The only thing that CRA requires you is to be able to retrieve a receipt when requested. And that request becomes even more important when it's requested by a CRA auditor who's doing an audit. CRA doesn't care whether you keep printed binders with receipts in them, or if you use an application like this. The only thing they care about is whether you can actually retrieve a receipt. So when the CRA auditor is sitting with your bookkeeper or with you or with whomever and has 10 receipts in hand and says, all right, show me receipt number 7418, you can then go here, or I can show you another location if it's already been printed, and you can select receipt number 7418 and click that button, and 7418 becomes visible. And as long as what the auditor sees on the screen matches with what the auditor sees in his hand, then everyone's happy. You're good to go. So we have clients who still prefer to definitely keep the hard copy binders. We have other clients who choose not to, and that's totally your choice. And when I was actually working in faith-based schools, I actually called CRA on that question because it was unclear to me at the time whether they were requiring people to maintain hard copies, and they confirmed for me that that is not necessary. So that's great if all you want to do is print one receipt at a time. If you have 343 of them, you may not want to print one receipt at a time. You may want to print them all at one time, or you may want to select them using some other methodology. And so that's why we have this select menu here. You'll see I cleared the radio button, so there's now nothing selected. Let's say you wanted to select receipts, I don't know, based on a date range. So you press select by date, and let's say you wanted to see all receipts for, let's say January 2011. So you set the first date as January the 1st, or the start date is January 1st, the end date as as January 31st. Click OK, click select, and you can see there's, on at least up until this point, there's nothing selected, but you can see the preview buttons are now enabled, so something has been selected. So we can click preview, and there's the letter, there's the receipts, and if I click and go to the last page, then we can see that there are a total of 87 pages here. So there's a bunch of receipts for that time period. So so there you go, and that's that piece of it. We can also clear. We can also clear or deselect receipts, and there we go, they're all deselected. So let's say you wanted to do a different type of selection and wanted to select by fundraising category. We see we have a bunch of calendar-related receipts here, so let's try and select those. And there you go. You can see calendar, all the calendar items, receipts have been selected, and the same thing. I'm not going to bother opening. You've seen the letter and the receipts, but there you go. It will select them and it will queue them all up for printing. I'm going to show you one other thing which shows off another nice feature of this. And let's say you want to just print. You just want to print everything in here. Actually, no, sorry. Hold on a sec. Let's say you want to select by donor, and let's select that donor, and actually, you know what? I'm going to select. Sorry, I'm going to select a different donor. Bear with me for one sec. There we go. I'm going to select that one. Now you'll see right off the bat that this contributor or donor has at least two separate receipts here, and it's selected both of them. The nice thing about Phoenix NP Complete is that when it's dealing with a situation of multiple donations for an individual contact or donor, it will put everything on a single piece of paper. It will not waste paper by producing multiple pages per donation. So that's also a very nice feature. Now, of course, all these receipts can be printed very easily. If you're running Adobe Acrobat 8 or higher, rather than hard copy printing everything, you could use functionality that's embedded in Adobe Acrobat 8 or higher and actually email receipts out to everyone. The reason why I'm focusing on Adobe Acrobat 8 or higher is that the CRA actually does get very specific when it comes to electronic transmission of receipts. They are okay with it, but you have to guarantee that the receipt is sent in a format that it cannot be edited. And so with Adobe Acrobat 8 or higher, you can lock the PDF down or password protect it so that all anyone can do with it is open it and print it. They physically will not be able to make any changes to it, even if they have the full Adobe software. They would need to know the password in order to disable the security functionality. So you could essentially then save yourself a bunch of time, staff time, money in postage, by actually emailing all your receipts out, and that's another very useful option. So I'm going to take a brief stop there right now, because there were actually, you know what? No, I'm going to continue because I see the time is 10:36 now. We're probably going to go to, because have a few more things that I do want to talk about on receipting. We're probably going to go till for another 10 minutes at least, 10:45, or maybe till 10:50, and then we'll leave 10 minutes for dealing with some questions. So a couple of quick things around, a couple of quick final things around receipting. Phoenix NP Complete also has functionality to handle errors in receipts. You can see here everything. I'm going to go back to this original one that I created. Everything here can be, with the exception of the tax receipt number itself, everything here can be edited. You can change things, so if you made a mistake on the date or the amount or the non-receivable item or anything like that, you can change that. We do have functionality in here to void a donation, and you cannot delete an actual donation record once it's been created. Auditors, and that goes for your own school auditor as well as CRA auditors, don't like it when they see gaps in sequential receipt numbers. So if we hadn't built this carefully and just allowed users to delete a record, then you can see here the receipt number is 7736. In the data, there would be a record for 7735, and the next one would be 7737, and auditors would be left scratching their head, well, what happened to 7736, and why isn't it in here? So that's why we have the void functionality, and you would use this really only in one situation, and that is if you've entered a donation amount twice. For any other error, you can edit and correct the error. But if you've physically entered the same donation twice, then you need to void one of them. And that's where this comes in play. So you just select the particular donation record, you hit the void donation button, the system tells you you're about to void receipt number 7736. Yes, that's the one. Do you want to exit or do you want to continue? I'm going to continue. It gives you a reason for audit trail purposes. You can type in Franklin was demonstrating functionality, and I get to show off how quickly I can type. Woohoo! So then the only other thing to do is click Process, and the record was successfully voided. Thank you very much. And when I click OK, you'll see this record actually disappears, and I'll show you where it goes to in a moment. Click OK. It's gone. Wonderful. Click Exit, and you can see the option here, Voided Donation Records, and I click on that button, and there we go. 7736, Franklin was demonstrating the functionality. You can't do anything with this data other than look at it on the screen or print it. But that's as it should be. So if you do have, if an auditor does come in and, says, I see you've sent receipts out for 7735 and 7737, what happened to 7736? You can say, well, here it is, we voided it, and they're happy. All right, so that's that piece of it. A couple of other just quick things. You can also view receipts by receipt number, and as I said, when a receipt's actually printed, it's or once the receipt is created, it will be viewable here, and the receipt number and all the same information, just displayed a little bit differently. There's also this printed flag, already printed or awaiting printing. For any new receipts that have been issued, that flag will be shown as awaiting printing if it hasn't been printed yet. And as soon as something is printed, the system will automatically show you the print date. So this comes in handy when you get that phone call on February 27th from a contact or a donor saying, I didn't receive my receipt, and you know full well that you sent it out 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. Let's say this was the receipt. It would be showing as awaiting printing. It would be showing as already printed. You just simply change that flag to awaiting printing, and that's all you need to do. And you click Exit, and it will reappear in here. And with 300 and something records, I'm not necessarily going to start looking for it right now, but it is in there, and then it's just a simple matter of literally reprinting it. And again, if you want to email it to them, you can literally do this while you're on the telephone with them, and hopefully they'll see it pop up in their inbox, and you're good to go. So that's basic donation entry receipting. I'm going to just quickly mention while I'm here, the faith-based tax calculation. The functionality that's in Phoenix NP Complete performs the whole calculation. And I'm not going to go into all those details, but creating the actual receipts for those of you, and we do have people on the webinar today who are faith-based clients of ours and who are using this functionality. Once you perform the calculation and generate your results, you don't need to then physically go back and enter these items one by one, as I've shown you how to do it here. There is functionality, and this button is grayed out right now, that says Generate Tuition Donations. Well, if I had that enabled, all of this data that you see on my screen right now, all of this data will then get converted when I press that button, if it was enabled, into the donation receipts. So the system will automatically create those donation records for you. And then you can then just go in and select by category, select by tuition, let's say, and print those receipts out. So that's as far as I'm going to go with that. I do want to show you quickly a couple of, there's some reports functionalities here. And fundraising reports, we can generate actually I'm going to generate a different report. So here, let's pick a start date of January 1st. Let's pick an end date of December 31st. I can select all donation types or just certain ones. I'm going to select all, click Open Report. And again, the system thinks for a second, and there you go. It will segment those donation items by fundraising program or category, and you can see there it puts it in and puts in all the information that you need. So this is really good for reporting purposes, particularly senior management board reporting purposes, and for each fundraising program it provides you with summary statistics. So at a glance, you know exactly what's going on. You can always go to the last page if you wanted to. And there's a fair amount of records here, but we'll see how quickly the system does get there. It should only be another second or two. And there we go. So you can see for this test data for all of 2011, there were a total of 372 donations and those dollar amounts, and as I said, the summary statistics. So that's a sample of some of the reporting capabilities. So it's 10:45. I'm going to stop right now because I know that there have been some questions that have been entered, have been typed in, and so I want to try and deal with some of those right now, and that will probably then spur showing you a few other things. Okay, so we do have one question that was, well, we have a bunch of questions, but one question that was asked from one of our current clients about populating the directed towards drop-down menu. Yes, that's definitely something that users have control over, and thank you for asking that question. I'm going to show that to you right now. We have a utilities module in our application that has a host of features in it. I'm going to show you deal with that particular question. This button here in the lower right-hand side, Table Management, when you press that, there are a bunch of internal tables to the system that users can self-manage, and donation direction is the first one. So a category pops up. You can either add categories, you can delete categories. Just for demonstration purposes, here's all the categories that were in the drop-down menu. I could pick one and delete it, or I could add a category. So let's add a category, and let's call this the Franklin Smith Benevolent Fund. I always wanted to have a Franklin Smith Benevolent Fund. So there we go. Click Add, and the category's been added. And to prove it to you that it's been added, there we go, Franklin Smith Benevolent Fund. And let's go back to the main menu, Donations, and Directed Towards, and there we go, Franklin Smith Benevolent Fund. So that's pretty easy, pretty darn easy to manage that table, and that's the way to do it. So thank you very much. I hope that that answered that question. All right, so let's see, other questions. Yes, we have a question regarding tuition amounts and getting tuition information and other types of receivable data into the system. So that's one thing that I didn't, in the time allotted, didn't get a chance to delve into. So I'm going to touch on that right now. We have a revenue module, and we have revenue information that's in here, and you can see there's different types of revenue that we can handle: child care, tuition, fitness tax credit eligible, sports programs, etc., etc. So there's data already in here, but I'm going to show you actually how easy it is to import your revenue data. And the reason we have this functionality in here is, well, for a few reasons. Number one, it's our company's, one of our company philosophies is that if a user has to enter the same piece of data more than once into our product, then something is not working properly. Because most organizations, and this is schools, nonprofits, for-profit businesses, want to be able to use a accounting application to manage their books, their financial accounting records. Phoenix NP Complete has not been designed to be a replacement for your financial accounting package. It is a business management application designed to be an adjunct or to work in conjunction with your financial accounting package, and to also host that detailed data that financial accounting packages just aren't that good at. So your revenue tuition revenue, for instance, is certainly one piece of data that most organizations will want to continue using their financial accounting package for. So that then raises the question, well, if you want to perform, for instance, the faith-based tax calculation or receipts for childcare expenses or things like that, non-donation items, how then can you get that data from your accounting package easily into Phoenix NP Complete without having to rekey anything? And we have import functionality that allows users to do that. We have spreadsheet templates or documentation that we provide our clients that show how a spreadsheet needs to get set up in order to work with Phoenix NP Complete. I happen to have a spreadsheet ready to show this, and oops, sorry. And here it is. I'm going to double click on it. The system's going to spin and think for a second, and voila. Okay, voila. Oh, it's going to spin some more. Okay, voila. And there you go. So now it has pulled all of that data from that spreadsheet into Phoenix NP Complete. Now it's being held in a separate part of the application because maybe you want to import all these records, maybe you want to only import some of them, maybe you see something here that is actually an error and you want to fix it right here before it gets persisted permanently into the system. So you can do that at this stage. Let's say you want to upload the data. Simply click the Select All button. Every record is selected, and I can show you how many records there are here. Sorry, bear with me for one sec. Yes, 2352. So there are over 2,300 records here, and it's simply a matter of clicking the Upload Selected button. You have elected to upload 2352. A nice warning message that once it's completed, it can't be undone. Yes, I want to continue. And there you go. And when I go in here, you'll see a whole bunch of other records. These are all duplicated records, but it doesn't matter. It's test data anyhow. And so it's imported it in. And it's really as simple as that. So we have receipts that we can print off of that. Mixture of tuition and childcare related information. And again, you simply select your start date, you select your end date, and you can even multi-select students. I'm just going to select all and hit Preview Print. And the system's going to think. 2,300 revenue items, fair amount, but you can see how quickly the system goes through, and you can also see that there's duplicate stuff here because I've imported the data twice, but there's some tuition data for that student, and then there's some child care for that student, so it's a whole mixture of things. And again, it's pretty straightforward to use. So that in essence was really that. I believe that was that question. Sorry, I'm just going to go back and see if there's other things here. Okay, so there's a question about voiding. So we performed the voiding. Oh, yes, a question regarding tuition for children who are under 6 years of age. The system will automatically calculate the age of the student and will automatically show tuition fees paid for students who are enrolled in a JK program, for instance, SK program, as childcare. So it automatically takes care of that on that receipt that I showed you. Excuse me 1 second. All right. Just check one more thing, make sure that there were, if there are any other questions. Let me just quickly review. Oh, yes, there is a question here about multiple letters for different donation types. And whether the application allows multiple letters for different donation types. Currently, no. That facility is not built into to Phoenix NP Complete, but that is something that I believe is on our work list, and it's actually. Yes, it is on our work schedule, so that functionality will be available in a future upgrade, but currently different letters cannot be selected based on different fundraising programs or different directed towards programs. One thing that I also would like to mention in the last couple of minutes, we have just a couple of minutes to 11, is that we do have a new module that we are releasing early in 2012, and by early I mean effectively in the January-February timeframe, and that is a whole pledge management subsystem. So what the software will be able to do for those of you who do manage pledges and who have contacts or donors who like to schedule a frequency of payments in order to pay off a pledge that has been made, then we will have functionality in our application to do just that. So you will be able to enter pledges, you'll be able to enter a schedule of payments against those pledges, and then there'll be a facility by which those pledges, when they actually, or when those payments actually get made, then the system is updated, advised of that, and the balance in the pledge obviously then becomes reduced as more payments are made. So that functionality is coming early in 2012. So we have 2 minutes to 11. I am going to thank everyone for being present today. Hopefully, if there are other questions or things that you'd like more information on, by all means visit our website, www.simonphoenixgroup.ca. The video of this webinar in all likelihood will be made available on our website, so keep an eye open for that. And again, my name is Franklin Smith, and my email address is franklin@simonphoenixgroup.ca. It's been a pleasure to be with you this morning, and thank you very much, everyone, for being in attendance. We had a great group, and thank you for your questions, and I will wish you all a great day. Thanks, and take care.